This week, I worked on the first world of Accord. I added new entities, new mechanics, made around 20 levels, and generally polished the game. Now, before we start going through the game, I'm gonna exit and show you how the game starts. I'll press enter, and just like that, the game starts directly. There are no splash screens, no main menu, no loading screens. You're right inside the game. And when I move the character, the title disappears and we just move. I don't like making players wait. I, as a player, don't like waiting. I think splash screens are mostly useless. Main menus are pretty useless. You go through menus, but like there is so little variation in what you do each time you enter the game. 99% of the time, you're just gonna press continue or play game or whatever, and then you're gonna select your save file, probably the last save you played on, and then you're gonna wait through a loading screen because the game loaded the main menu instead of actually loading the game. And that destroys motivation. Having to sit through 2 minutes of useless things, the splash screen, the main menu, the loading screens, and there can be multiple loading screens every time you want to get to this position in a game. There's really no need for that, I think, in today's world. Like, loading games are so fast right now that you can just easily load the game, and then if the player wants to access a menu like this one, you can just show them the menu afterwards. You don't need to make the player go through the menu first to enter the game. They can go to the menu afterwards if they wish so. Like, there is no going around this fact. When a player enters the game, they don't enter the game to change some settings or look at the menu art or whatever. They want to play the game. That's why they enter the game. I'm not really sure why so many games do main menus or loading screens anymore, because you can just load the game asynchronously in the background. Maybe they just don't want to deal with it because players don't mind, maybe. But I think that's just bad game design. Games should start right away. And right away, you can see some of the new things I've done. Here's the new background. I changed the pyramid background to this background, these orbs that are connected in the air. I think the pyramid trope is a bit overused, and it didn't really have a special meaning in the context of the game. And that background also had apartments and buildings on the ground rising up. That seems very normal to us because that's what our cities look like in the real world. But I don't think that's a property of cities. That's just a property of how we build them right now in our current technology. And I didn't want to reflect our current technology in this game. So this is how cities look in Accord. So let's continue and see the levels I made. This is the basic starting screen. You can complete it only using jumps and wall jumps, but you can also use some rolls if you want to go faster. This is probably the first time the player will dash when they can't quite make the jump. Here are some moving platforms. And here's an essence, which makes the player regain their dash if it's depleted. Here I've added some ambient sound loops to the turbines. It makes them have more presence in the world this way. Here's the new death sound for the igniter. And the igniters themselves also have an ambient sound loop, though it may be quite hard to hear. It's very subtle. And here's the screen that introduces attractors. I also made a quick change to the attractors. When an attractor pulls you in, there are 2 to 3 frames where you are not directly at the center of the attractor, but you can still pop it. Now I made it so that when you pop the attractor by dashing, the game puts you at the center of the attractor. So you always dash out from the same position. This makes it easier to go through tight corridors like this, where there are spikes everywhere and just a few pixels of misalignment can cause your death. Here are some dash platforms. They switch positions when you dash. They are especially useful for doing some momentum stuff. So for example, this platform will go very fast towards the left, so it will give me some substantial left momentum, so I can make a very large jump like this. And here are some propellers. They push you outwards when you dash inside them. Here are some toggle platforms. These platforms toggle whenever you dash. Right now, the platform above me is off, so I can go through it, but when I dash, it becomes solid. Okay, this is one of the favorite rooms that I've made so far. I think having these tight corridors that lead up to some propellers is really fun, and I intend to use them a lot more in the future. And this is the final level that I've made thus far. It has a lot of entities, a lot of different types of entities, like spikes, attractors, essences, toggle blocks, dash platforms, and propellers. So here you need to use the momentum of this dash platform. When you dash, the platform will switch positions to go up, and this toggle block will be off so you can go through it, and you will use the momentum of this platform to reach the same height as this propeller, which then you will dash inside and it will push you towards this attractor, which then you can use to dash here and then complete the level. So let's do that. And here's an alternative approach that utilizes the rolling mechanic. And that's all the levels I made thus far. Now here is supposed to be the final level of this world, but I will not show you what's after this point, because one, spoilers, and second, I haven't actually made it yet. In the next week, I'll probably add some decorations to the foreground of the level and really polish every single bit of it. And maybe I'll add some new rooms in between the ones I've already made to ease the progression and difficulty of the world a bit more. And then I'll begin working on World 2, and there are some experimental things that I want to try. I still have a lot of ideas for this game, and I want to try them all to see what sticks and what doesn't. I want the game to be novel, so I will try to add some more things that I haven't seen in any other platformer. This is the first world of the game, so it's a bit tame. It doesn't really have a lot of revolutionary ideas, but I think it's a good starting point.